is desperately seeking work. She rang me the other night and she said, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair.
Chairman, if this bill is, as the Minister would have us believe, about dealing with welfare dependency, let's look for a moment at the record. The record is, since she became Minister, unemployment is up 82%. Those on the DPB are up 13%. And the first question we should ask you, Minister, is this because suddenly 82% more people don't want to work? Is this because suddenly the nation has lost its morals and a lot more people are on a domestic purposes benefit because of that? The Minister knows that that is arrant nonsense. She knows that the reason why there are more people unemployed has very little to do about lacking the will to work and a hell of a lot about the jobs being lost under her government's management and the jobs not being available. I want to ask the Minister why it was that when I opened the New World supermarket, for the jobs that were available there, I think there were 200, there were over 3,000 people seeking those jobs. More recently, I opened the warehouse in Stoddard Road. That was 80 jobs, and there were 1,500 people seeking out relatively low-paid employment. And most recently, I opened Countdown. There were 200 jobs there, and 150 jobs there. There were 2,600 people queuing up for those jobs. It's not about people lacking the will to work, Minister. It's not about people wanting to be welfare dependent. It's about the fact that in the last quarter under this government, something like 20 to 30,000 jobs have disappeared and not been replaced. It's about the fact that this government hasn't focused on the needs of those out of work to be upskilled to get employment. Things like the training education initiative, the training incentive allowance, I should say. You, Minister, know about that. You took advantage of it. So why is it, Minister, that you've taken it away from people today that want to upskill to get into the job workforce, to get a job? If you want to reduce welfare dependency, make sure the jobs are there, make sure that people are skilled to take up those jobs, and make sure that people have affordable home care or education, early education assistance so that their kids can be looked after. Because most mums or parents out there, their first obligation is to their children. They must look after their children. They must ensure their children have a stable background and every assistance those kids can get. That comes even before finding a job if you're a solo mum or dad. So let's make sure that the prerequisites to getting people off welfare and into jobs are there. Jobs, skills, affordable early childhood education. This bill is very strong on rhetoric. It's very weak on making any real difference in practice. I want you to tell the House, Minister, how it'll work if you cut the benefit by 50%. Who do you think, Minister, is going to be the first victim of that? Is this another case of visiting the sins of the parents on the kids? The kids who are already ill-clothed, ill-fed, ill-housed, disadvantaged, never have the same opportunities as your kids or mine. You're going to cut the benefit to punish the parent? Yeah, come on. What is our social security system about? It is about a social contract. People do have an obligation, if they're able to work, to go out there and find the work. But you can do that by strong case management. And you know that, Minister. You know that to be the truth. That if somebody is not working that should be, look at their drug or alcohol problem, for example. Don't increase the pokies at Sky City. That won't help. Don't be gutless about your alcohol legislation and reducing dependency. That won't help. It's about addressing the problems. Because they're unskilled, don't cut $53 million out of the skill budget as you did 2 years ago. Don't cut the training incentive allowance because you'll only make the problem worse. I believe that people have obligations to their community, that there is a social contract, that our community has the responsibility to make sure that those in need and those who are most vulnerable get support and each of us has the obligation back to our community to contribute as much as we can, to get out there and to work when we can. Most people want to do this. This bill is dog whistling. It'll do nothing.
Tracy Martin.
On behalf of New Zealand First, to speak on the social